Good evening and happy Monday. Welcome in to another episode of the Opening Kick. As always, I got my man Gerald Smoke Dixon with me on this Monday night. How are you doing, good sir?
Cockle-doodle-doo.
I got my roosters tonight, man. I'm ready to crow.
Are you ready to crow? You ready to do some dip? Which one?
I ain't ready. I've done that twice, and both times it made me dizzy, and I don't understand. I'll good on you. Who does it?
So instead, you just get a shirt with a bunch of cocks on it.
You say I'm the one with the bad mind. You say stuff like that. And,
what do you mean? That's what they call them. Roosters, gamecocks, cocks. Yeah, you didn't know?
Shirt full of cocks. I'm your host, the Daniel Pettey, with the shirt full of cocks here on this exciting night.
Now you're running with it.
You started it. You opened the door. You know I'm just gonna bust through it like a guy that's had one.
I know if it comes down to just barnyard behavior with a bunch of roosters and cocks on your shirt, I know you're the guy for it. It's all good.
If you like the shirt, come on over from Twitter X, hit that like and subscribe so you get all that wonderful Bama Standard content. Mostly, the opening kick and my man Show Constantly Smoking that's been on fire here lately.
Listen, man, if it wasn't for opening kick, I think Constantly Smoking would be the number 2 show. But right now, number 1.
Wait, look,
opening
man.
Kick until I get on Constantly Smoking and I say the opposite. So
of course, hey, as long as you say it in front of me, I don't care. I'm good.
Go with the flow, bro. At least I'm telling you I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm really telling you the truth. If I tell you that I'm lying.
Speaking of going with the flow, we're going to go with the flow tonight. That's what we did last week. We are hitting the off season, so we're going to try to hit what's the biggest topics in college sports. But we're also kind of got to take a look ahead, man. What are SEC teams' biggest questions heading into the fall? We're going to start that little thing. We're going to hit a few teams each week. This week, we're going to touch on Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, and those Bulldogs from Starkville. But also, man, it's NFL draft week. We'd be remiss if we didn't touch on it. We love talking the NFL here. We're going to talk we'll talk a little green room tonight. What is the importance of that? What is the importance of those invitations, and how many do they give out? Because I notice some people leave and then some people accept. So we got some questions for Smoke on the green room.
All right.
And then, if you haven't been paying attention, every other commercial these days around football is about gambling. Hey, man, what's your 2017 parlay? With gambling becoming so rampant, with NIL money being so insane, it's the wild west of college sports right now. Are the doors open for maybe some point shaving, maybe a little scandalous, maybe some game, tripping going on? We're going to get into that a little later tonight. It's a conversation. Actually, it was a super chat last week, and me and Smoke said we would make it a topic this week, so we're going to discuss it. Because
dang it, if we say we're going to do something, I know I will. I don't know about the guy that's wearing a bunch of roosters on his shirt, but Smoke will get it done for you.
Hey, but if anything, we're people of the fans. Speaking of the fans, the chat was bumping last week. Keep it bumping this week. Keep those questions coming. We will engage. We love engaging with y'all more than we do talking about the topics we brought.
Man, please put me on a hot seater, bro. Yeah. I want to get heated up. Don't give me those simple questions like, is the best quarterback at Alabama Ty Simpson?
Smoke likes it when you bring the heat towards him.
Bring something different and get some real depth to your questions, and I'll give you some depth with my answers. I'm a layered guy, Pettey.
Speaking of layer and depths,
yeah,
talk about one of our sponsors, man. Nothing goes deeper than that stone in the mountain. It's layered, it's depth, but you can get it out of that mountain and right on your home from Lamstone at realrockstone.com.
In my backyard.
Yeah, it's in his backyard. We're going to get him a little more. Keep that snow. He's going to have a castle before we're done with Smoke. Hey, if you're building that castle, nowhere else to look than Lamstone Company at realrockstone.com. They're located in Aniana, Alabama. They're one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. Tell them we sent you by using the promo code the Bama Standard and get 10% off your purchase of stone. So I'm not good at math, but I think that's a pretty good deal.
Tell your friend, tell your brother. RealRockstone.com is forever, especially in my backyard.
That's right. First of all, hit that like and subscribe. Justin Paul Sports. Point shaving would be insane. Big penalties for that. Hey, it's happened in the past, man. There's a history of it. And now with so much money and gambling being involved, don't you think people try to tip those scales? But we're going to get to that later. But
I might have something to say against that, but I'm going to let you go. That's later on. I got a really hot take on that. So I hope everyone sticks around for my hot take on Mr. Rooster's whole point shaving and
well,
yeah, we're
I
going
think
to
you'll
get
have
into
a good
that.
perspective because you've been in the locker room. You know how easy the temptations are when, so maybe there is, maybe there isn't.
Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe I know somebody that's, I might know somebody.
Okay.
I
Hey,
might be half Italian.
speaking
Jamaican
of,
Italian.
I know you've talked about it on some of your other shows. If you don't realize, Smoke is a man of the people. He's all over the place. Check him out on 27 Sports. He's talked about this Nico situation. He talked about it on Constantly Smoking. But man, the breaking news is Joey Aguilar from UCLA. They've kind of done a swapperoo with
Joey
Tennessee.
Aguilar.
Yeah, I said Aguilera.
Yep.
I added some stuff.
No, you're good. You got that Mississippi, Tuscaloosa, Tampa, Florida guy, perfectly hair spiked up, twang to it. But listen, when you put it down, Pettey, this is why we're real good. I can catch it. Put it right back in the hoop.
So, final take on that. Is there did everything just turn out rosy? Did everybody lose? Were there winners? Who's the winners and losers in this deal?
I don't think anyone is a winner or a loser. But I can tell you who's not benefiting the most.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have Joey that left UCLA, now he's at Tennessee. That's not a bad situation for him because he's leveling up. He left App State to go to UCLA. Now he's over at Tennessee. For that kid, he's living a dream.
That's right.
He's a good game manager. And I don't mean that by any slight. I just understand that he knows how to make good decisions, get the ball into the playmaker's hands. And with Josh Heupel's offense, that's what you really need to do. You don't need a game changer to function in that offense. A good game manager is just as good. But when you look at Nico's going back home, culturally fits into what they're doing out in the UCLA with my man Smoke, a.k.a. Stiff Arm, Deshaun Foster. He's in a good situation where he's with Tino Sinceri, running more of an RPO look of an offense, which now puts him in an ideal situation to use his skill set, which is his legs, his big arm, ability to push the ball downfield, but make quick decisions and give him options. First level read, second level read, third level is his legs. Those are options that you want to give to an athletic quarterback. But now we get to Tennessee. Tennessee's in the worst situation. Just because you just lost the quarterback that got you to a playoff game against Ohio State Buckeyes, the national champions, you won 10 games. You can't tell me that you're a better team if you lost one of your better players.
Look, when
to get the newcomer of the Sun Belt.
And when Vegas still has the kid 6 in the Heisman odds, there's a reason. Look, man, and
he's talented.
I love the revisionist history that comes out with this, but man, Smoke, it's already bumping. Got a great question. We got a young buck, Xavier Barker in the chat. He's 18 and a senior in high school. But his question is, and I love this because it's perfect for you, how should I become a college football coach? I recently attended the University of Oregon coaching clinic. Great question for my man Smoke.
College football coach, you got to have a lot of time. And hopefully you're not invested in having a personal life for the first few years, because if you want to become a college coach, you're going to start out from the ground up. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to be the first one in, the last one out, have a bunch of no-dos and never say no, unless it's something that's going to affect you, get you locked up, or challenge your moral values in life. And that's just doing work. And just always be available. Keep your resume pumping. Volunteer your time to your local school. People that you met out at Oregon's coaching clinic, make sure you reach back out to them. And it's okay to coach in high school. Right? If you can't get in college right away, coach in high school. Because you know that once you are coaching in high school, you're going to have a bunch of colleges that come through. And when they come through, make sure that you're readily available. And it's an interview every single time that they pull up on your school doorsteps. And enter through those doors.
Love it. And it gave me, I just realized a new segment, like when some question comes out like this and you just go into waxing philosophic, words of wisdom by Smoke. We're going to have, that's going to be a new, anytime we get one of these questions, it's going to be like a section of words of wisdom from Smoke Dixon. Good
man.
stuff.
I hope y'all not buying that because Pettey ain't.
I always buy it. Hey, Tough as Nails always coming with great questions, but says, and I don't know about this report, so maybe you've seen this. ESPN's Heather Dinich suggests that they should pick who is in the playoffs rather than earning your way in. It's about the brands. Did she really?
I mean, she's not off. I mean, do you want to watch Boise, or would you rather watch an Alabama or the Blue Bloods play if it's close? And again, we all understand that it's a revenue-driven sport. The big names bring more money. More money brings more television. More television brings more cash. So I don't think it should all be brand. There's always a happy medium. At some point, get into the middle of making it right. And I think we should be on a good trajectory of good football. But again, if they haven't earned it, don't put them in there.
Just let's go to an earned system. Top 12 teams, I don't care the conference. If one SEC team's in the top 12, one makes it. If 5 are in it, 5 make it. Who cares?
But you're a true Southerner now. You understand that if the Southern teams aren't in it,
we're gonna raise hell.
Yeah, and if the East Coast teams aren't in it, like who's gonna watch it?
We'll crow like these roosters on my damn shirt.
So let's meet in a happy medium somewhere in between brand and actual play.
Actual plays got to count, man. And look, if a P5 earns it, they earn it, man. Give it to them. You know,
Group of 5, because they eliminated that. Yeah, that West Coast conference that we're not going to talk about called the Pac something.
Changing the nomenclature on me, brother.
It's P4. They eliminated the Pac 2. Now it's Pac 2.
P4. That's right. P4. James Green, great questions, getting us warmed up. We'll hit one more before we go into our first topic, James Green. And this is another good one for Smoke, given he kind of played on a team that dealt with this. Good evening, guys. Do you believe that a 2 QB system will work?
I think it can work once you decide on one guy later on in the season. But earlier on in the season, when games, you're not into true conference play, I think it can work. Or if you have a Cam Newton type, truly athletic difference maker that you can't keep on the bench, that you can dedicate 20 or 30 plays to a game where you keep that defensive coordinator up all night just because he can't relax, because once this guy gets in the game, he can change it. I think so. You have to. And the current model of college football that we're in right now says that you have to do that, because if the backup's not playing and he's talented, he's going to get poached off your roster. And if he feels like he's not getting developed, he's going to leave.
There you go.
So work and win a national championship? I don't think so. But be functional enough to get you through and get you to the backup quarterback if the backup is much better? Yes.
Yeah, I think, and I hate to say this or could be a cop-out. I almost think it's situational, man. Depends on the team, depends on what the 2 system is. If you're forcing it, or if it is an actual thing, like when Leak and Tebow played off each other, where there it was a compliment situation.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked. Sometimes it does, but when you're forcing 2 guys, like,
But it wasn't. But Leak and Tebow wasn't forced.
No, that was
Tebow was a situational thing. You get in the red zone, short yardage. There's a package there for that player. Yeah, you use that player for that, but it's not every other series, because every other series truly doesn't dictate the flow of the game.
When it doesn't work, I believe, is when you've got the new hot guy, the guy that's been around for a while, and you're trying to play on both, and it becomes a quarterback competition on the field.
Make a decision and go with it.
With the offense, yeah. Ephraim's great question. One more before we get going. I lied. Is $20 million sustainable for NIL?
Yeah, sustainable.
You're gonna need more than that too.
Here's the thing: when you say that, and you give that boyish, handsome smile that you got, and then you come back like, I can't believe they're paying this guy this much money. You got, like, pick a side. I think 20.
No, I'm just saying. I just said you're gonna need more because it is growing.
Why do you need more?
Because Duke's paying $2 million for a quarterback. That means the market's growing.
Yeah, but if I want to say he's saying, can $20 million be a cap?
Yeah, a sustainable.
Right. If that's a cap that you're saying, a cap is a cap, because you got to, when you put the cap on top of that bottle, it ain't opening anymore unless we're adding in more into it, which means a new deal is getting signed, more money's being dumped into to the rev share. Yes, that's the only way. But once you say it's 20 and everyone has to work within that 20, yeah, they better make sure it works, and they have to make sure it works, because that's the only way they can function and get their team. But you're already thinking about ways of cheating. So that's where your head's at right now.
What's the whole saying in the SEC? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
No, if you're cheating, you're cheating. And if you're cheating, you should get penalized. And cheaters aren't true champions.
Nope.
And no one recognizes you guys because you're a part of them. Yeah, if you say cheating is trying, you try to cheat. So you're a cheater.
So what's cheating? What do we consider cheating? Because I mean, every program pays players, even in the days before NIL. I mean, we're about to go.
How do you know that?
Because I'm not.
How do you know that? I'm just asking. I didn't say you're naive. I'm not saying I didn't question your intelligence one time. How do you know that?
How do I know players got paid?
No, how do you know that programs paid players? How do you know definitively for a fact? Walk in front of a judge and say, "Yup, he got paid."
I mean, I've known players that played in the SEC.
Did you see them get the money?
No, I've never seen.
Allegedly,
I never watched the exchange.
Then you can't say for sure. Alleged behavior. Alleged don't work in court. Toss it out. You've never seen it.
But that's still the premise. You're cheating. So even if nobody knows it's going on behind the closed doors, you know.
If a tree falls in the forest and you're not around, do you still hear it?
Then again, if you ain't in the SEC, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I guess. I just know that when people in programs cheat, they usually get penalized, and the ones that got penalized are the cheaters. The ones that didn't,
we're better at cheating.
They didn't get.
I'm not going to say that. Hand in the cookie jar.
I'm not going to say that, Pettey. I'm not a part of that crew. I'm not a part of the guilty because you're in the SEC association and making stuff up by the hot air that comes out of your backside.
Look, but you can live in a land of rainbows and unicorns. But when blue chip players, if you didn't go to one school because you loved, I mean, when everybody's offering you, you're not going to another one for free. Mississippi State offered 180, which was the dumbest thing ever. They were what, 70,000 away from a title.
Says who? Who got offered 180?
Alleged offered, huh?
Who got offered 180? When did you hear about this?
What would that shit? John Bond came out and talked about it. It came out on air. Mississippi State came out in the public about it, and I'm like, well, then you're dumb. He came on radio because he was so butthurt about Auburn beating them out. He admitted to how much they offered.
Admitted to trying to pay a player and the player didn't accept it. That's not cheating.
No, that's not because no transaction.
So but, Cam didn't.
So did he go? You telling me so he went? But I'm gonna turn this down and go because I just love that eagle floating around that stadium before.
Man, have you been on that campus on a Saturday afternoon when that eagle comes over the top? It's one of the best game day environments.
Probably one of the we're probably about to get shot by the Bama fans because I will.
That's their problem.
One of the cooler things if you can't get into SEC stuff like when LSU holds jams the thing in the tiger eye and everybody goes crazy, but when that eagle drops, it'll give some chill bumps. Pretty cool.
Great Saturday afternoon football.
A lot of them in the SEC. Speaking of, man, and this is a great segue, Smoke. SEC
hey, hold on. I'm listen, Mike Coleman, Smoke cheating right now. Try that Jedi mind trick on me. I'm not. Who says? That's what I'm saying. What Jedi mind trick?
Smoke mad because they gave him a Geo Metro. You didn't get a Charger, Smoke.
Like, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
Who was saying like cars, bro? Listen, I walked to class.
Did Marvin never pick you up in one of his?
Don't know what. Listen, Marvin was driving something that his mom got for him on good credit. That's all I know.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't have a story. I'm just telling you the truth. That's what Content said to me. I never asked him for a ride in his car. His car wasn't big enough for two anyway, and it was too daggone loud, and I have sensitive ears.
He couldn't fit all Marvin's muscles in there by himself.
And I walked to class.
SEC question mark, Smoke. It never ends. Sorry, we're not touching on Bama. We are touching on some of the rivals and some of the folks you may see across the sideline this year. But look, man, we're going to talk all SEC teams in this segment, but we got to hit on some of the low-hanging fruits before we get to the big.
Nah, don't. Bad behavior. No, listen. High hanging fruit. We got to jump so high we can't even touch it.
What's in the SEC, right? So it's everything.
Come on, man.
Just means more, Smoke.
So they say.
So Mississippi State, man.
Ooh,
Jeff Lebby, a really good offensive mind. He was
great offensive mind
at Oklahoma with Kiffin at the early stages at Ole Miss. He's got Blake Shapen coming back off injury. Who look at time at Baylor and is a little bit at Mississippi State.
Lighten him up.
very tough, serviceable quarterback. They got the Croman Hook kid from Florida State transfer, so maybe there's some competition. But the problem is there enough, man? And and if we're talking biggest question marks for each team, and I hate to get overarching, but I think it's Mississippi State's got to buy into the new era. Until their boosters get in, I think they've turned their nose up at the NIL, thinking it'll go away, when in fact it's not. And it seems like they're just getting further behind. I mean, they've been passed by Vanderbilt. They've been passed by Kentucky.
Well, I wouldn't say they're turning their nose up at it. I would just say that their personnel department, they haven't registered and haven't signed up with Smoke v. Dixon Management, Ultimate Consulting Group, to make sure that your personnel department and your recruiting department is up to speed in the 2025 recruiting protocols and talent acquisition and roster construction. You like that, Pettey?
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I do for a living. So, and that's real too, Pettey. That's what I do. So if you need proper consulting, Courtney Williams, right now, that's Ivy Williams' son. I think Courtney's DPP over there at Mississippi State. And they got my good boy Shad over there. Great teammate, strength and conditioning coach out there. So shout out to those two guys. Been knowing Courtney since we used to stuff him in the locker. And he was around there as a ball boy for a coach. And like I said, that's Ivy Williams' son. He was a running back coach for Alabama during my time. And I want to say Ivy was there from 94 or something, right? 95-ish to 02. No, I'm sorry, to 99, 2000 season. So either way, I just don't think they have enough bullets in their guns to truly fire and compete in the SEC right now.
No.
And even though you can say they're not in play, Mississippi State's always been in play for players. Right. You can't, when Jackie Sherrill was there, and even when let me see, who was the last one who was the head coach when Dak Prescott was there?
Oh, you're talking about Mullen.
When Coach Mullen was there, I apologize, just drew a blank.
No, it happens.
No, it don't happen to me much. It happens to you. When I'm messing with you. When Coach Mullen was there, they were always into the talent acquisition business. So regardless of how they acquired their talent, I just think they need to get caught up on what they truly can afford, because everyone does not have the same bank account. They don't have the same blue bills that falls off of trees, like say in Oxford, Mississippi, or in Knoxville, Tennessee, that you can get down in Stark, Vegas. But there is a level and a tier that you can get into. They might just be a tier 2 type of program within the Smoke v. Dixon Management Consultancy Group. They might just be in there. And that means you can't go out and spend $3 to $4 million on a quarterback. But there might be a $600,000 quarterback out there that fits Coach Levy's system, along with a group of offensive linemen that you can get, say, from the FCS level, Big Sky, OVC, just different levels that you can get to play in the SEC, because there's a lot of good players that are out there that's willing, Division II, Division III, that can come in and play for you and not tax you that much. So there is a way that they could do that. They just haven't dug down deep enough. And Courtney calls me, but we haven't had that conversation yet, because I will send you an invoice at the end of that conversation, Courtney, no matter if you're my little nephew or not.
And you're right. I expect State to kind of be competent on offense under Levy. But the thing is, and you brought up Jackie Sherrill in that era when you played them, Mississippi State's calling card, what made going to Starkville hell wasn't just the cowbells, was the fact they played a very nasty defense under the Jolie Dunn era. State was bringing some heat on defense, and you got out of there. You left that stadium knowing you were in a fight. Well, last year there was no fight on that defense. I think they were last in the SEC in scoring, and that's for Mississippi State. Your formula is, to get that deafening noise going and play nasty defense. So Levy's gonna have to find it for him to.
The SEC is brutal, man.
It is.
I mean, you and I both know it. If you aren't in the conversation of recruiting high school at a good clip, like, you're a Mississippi kid yourself. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss calls and Mississippi State calls. Where are you going?
Ole Miss.
Right. If you are a transfer portal player and Lane picks up the phone and Levy picks up the phone, one guy got, man, listen, start telling me what you need. I can pay you. The other guy saying that we only can pay. So to me, they're just at a different place right now.
Yeah.
And they just have to figure out how they're going to compete, because it's not that we can't, because that don't fly. You don't get paid to say that we can't. You get paid to figure out how you're going to do it. And like I said, Courtney, pick my phone up, hit my hip. We can do some business.
All right. You'd be good. Good mentality.
Hey, listen, I ain't saying I'm going to work for them. I just said I'm going to consult them. I can be their right hand, right? Because they have to take the other hand to stroke the check.
You mean you don't want to go to Starkville, Mississippi for a little while?
Listen, you and I both know money talks, BS walks.
That's right.
If they can offer $1.5 million, I'll drop it right now and go, because that's what I think I'm worth.
There you go. Market value. You just heard it, State. Give him a call. Tan brought out a good question before we go to the next team. With Dan Mullen, I had to go ahead and bring it up, is now at UNLV. Yeah, left the booth to get back in the coaching ranks. And I think Mullen is an underrated X's and O's guys. He gets the most. What do you think the ceiling is for him, Smoke, at UNLV now?
I think he can do the same thing as Coach Odom did at UNLV. I think he could be a 10-game winner out there. He's gonna put up points. He has an unconventional offense. He's always recruited and acquired in talent and built his roster the right way. Hopefully he understands the importance of him sitting out and just seeing the marketplace for a good general manager in a personnel department, that he's going to get into that and just keep that thing flowing out there in Nevada.
There you go. Good one. Going back to it, man, you talked about tough schedules and the SEC being brutal going into last year, man. That the heat was on Billy Napier. Everybody was pointing to the back half of his schedule saying he's not going to make it through. You know, the Sun Belt Billy's going to get fired, doesn't know how to coach.
No, I said that. No, hey, listen, you keep on throwing around. I said that. I said Sun Belt Billy won't make it.
Yeah, I didn't.
So that just means I stuck my fist.
Survive, but Smoke.
No, I just stuck my fist in my mouth. So everybody on the chat, this is your time to laugh and point your finger and say, "Hey, Smoke, you were wrong." Everybody on the count of three, I was wrong.
Smoke, hand raised guy. You said I don't stand in the foxhole with you. I'm going down with you on this. I thought.
No, I never said no. I think you would stand in the foxhole with me. I just got to watch my back in that foxhole because I know it was coming next.
Look, I thought Florida was done for, and Sunbelt pulled a rabbit out of his hat named DJ Lagway, who somewhat salvaged the end of that season. But the question mark did say saved his job.
Right.
Let's be real.
Go ahead.
Beat Ole Miss, beat Florida State, the rival. Those are two games that chalked up.
They had Tennessee close to the brink in overtime, one play away from winning that game.
DJ Lagway flash, Smoke, but the question mark is, and you've told me, he hasn't picked up a football this offseason. What does that mean for Florida going in when your star hasn't been working with the new receivers in this ever-changing Ballon football?
So, Pettey, what you do, you undersold that a little bit. You said pick up a football. He has picked up a football now, but all he's done is hand them off. Okay? Throughout this entire spring, and the information that I'm gathering is since December, he's not thrown a football. Mm-hmm. Now, typically, I try to decode messages from coaches. Coach Napier, because I got to call him Coach Napier now. No more Sunbelt Billy, because he actually came out, bowl game, did a good job, picked the right quarter. Well, he didn't pick the right quarterback. One quarterback got hurt, and that's the only reason why DJ played. So,
by default.
I'm not going to give him that much credit. It happened. Listen, I'm not going to knock you for it too much, but it's not like you came out and said, we have a plan and DJ's going to play a certain amount of reps, so on and so on. But the quarterback hasn't thrown a football all spring. All he's been doing is handing it off. That scares the crap out of me. If it was a meter of 1 to 10, right now I'm at an 8. And the only reason why I'm not at a 9, going overboard and going to 11 and 12, just because it's still April and we don't play until the fall. But in a quarterback's developmental process, he needs to throw the football, especially when you have a young quarterback such as DJ. And as talented as DJ is, he still has to work on timing, accuracy, placement, And again, building continuity and just a rhythm of that offense. Because last year, like you said, he wasn't the day one starter. He started off the default of someone getting hurt. So there's still a lot of work for him to do and how to get more developed to become that next tier great quarterbacks in Florida's history and the next tier of good quarterbacks in the SEC right now. Because talent-wise, says that he's up there with Art, Lenore Sellers. If Nico was still there with Nico, he's in that next wave of crop of quarterbacks that's in that next draft class. But you haven't picked up a football, and we haven't heard a word of what the rehab is going to be or supposed to be, or what the injury is. All they said was, we saw some specialists. Whenever I hear specialists, antennas go, pew. We don't know. We don't have a plan. Pew. And we don't know when. Pew. So I'm nervous. Sorry, Florida Gator fans. I don't know if you don't have a chance if DJ don't play.
No, and it's funny because you keep hearing everybody talk about him as if he hasn't skipped a beat or missed a practice. And look, I get when you look at the highlights, things pop off. But one of the things that also would send a red flag is he was very interception prone. That's what you're working on from that year one, getting your feet wet to year two. And he's not
decision making
on that timing, decision making that you just said, which is going to be crucial for his development. It's going to Florida again. You pulled that rabbit out of your hat, but now your rabbit is a question mark.
You're a quarterback that hadn't thrown a football. So what are you? Unless you're going back to, Army and Navy football, Mr. Right and Mr. Left back when Notre Dame was running with the power T. Yeah, I don't see that working right now in college football. Not at the clip of what you want to get done in Florida.
No, like you said, it's got some alarms going down in Florida, but there's also, if the kid can get it, all the potential in the world's there too. But man, quarterback seems to be a theme. Oklahoma had one walk out the door to the last team we're going to talk about, but had a new set come in a Washington duo, one that you're really
Washington State. Man. Washington State, listen, them Cougars gonna bite your head off.
Cougars gonna get mad at me. I didn't mean to get you confused with the Huskies. Wazoo. Look, they got the Wazoo duo and Arbuckle at offensive coordinator, and you are really high on Mateer. Look, under Venables, defense isn't going to be a problem. We know that side of the ball is taken care of, but it was offense that hindered Oklahoma from taking that next step next year. Are these the missing pieces, Smoke?
I do believe that John Mateer is the second best quarterback in the SEC, behind Garrett Nussmeier.
There we go. There we go. I love it.
That ain't a hot take. That's his facts. That's his facts. When you throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards, and you now come over with your offensive coordinator, same system, continuity, the receivers are coming back healthy, offensive line is healthy. They just picked up Jaden Ott, and that running back room is heavy. Jaden Ott just came over in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of people don't understand that Oklahoma went through a bunch of injuries last year, on top of having a young quarterback with a new play caller, and they struggled on offense, but they did spank Bama, right? And you saw a glimpse of really good play on defense. And like you said, defense is never going to be an issue. But I'm gonna stick to Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer on offense. What they can do to the SEC is almost like lightning in the bottle. You look at their schedule, you say, wow, it's tough as heck. But we haven't seen a quarterback that was this creative, this talented, with this much savvy and ability to play like Johnny Manziel.
I was about to say, you just describing Johnny Football. Are we about to go Johnny Football?
I wouldn't say he's Johnny, but he's damn near close to it, bro.
And look, I get people get lost on what happened when he got in the pros, but don't forget what that dude was.
We're talking about college Johnny. We ain't talking about Johnny that was playing in NFL.
We're talking about Johnny the magician, the one that got named Johnny Football.
Johnny, the Heisman Trophy winner. That's what you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, that was.
And you just have a quarterback that is accurate, can get the ball out of his hand, understands why the play is getting called, understanding the nuances of that offense, knows the offense inside and out, and has a comfortability with just the players around him. He was a better quarterback than Cam Ward was at Washington State. Yeah. He was.
Ooh, no,
right now in their development, both of them had Arbuckle. He's better than Cam at that stage. Not saying that Cam's not a great player right now, but where they're at in their career, he played better last year than Cam did earlier on.
That's giving me the tingles.
Yeah, this kid can play. It's like, I don't care what level. If you're a 3,000 yard thrower and a 1,000 yard rusher, I don't care where you're playing. I don't care who you're playing against. Those are still numbers, and it's not just he didn't play against anybody. The way that he operated within the offense, the flow of the offense, the game-changing plays that he can make and create with the ball in his hands as a runner and as an accurate, quick decision-making quarterback.
There you go, man. Smoke. Words from his mouth, man. Look out for Mateer this year. If he can turn the corner, I've said it several times this offseason. I felt like Brent was on the hot seat at Oklahoma, but if he can be what you're saying, Smoke, that's going to – Brent's going to be okay. Oklahoma's going to be okay.
I got a guy that they picked up in the portal that's probably one of the most underrated offensive linemen in the portal. Derek Simmons from Western Carolina.
Ooh.
Just plug away. And they got that all-world tackle, Michael Fasucci, coming in, young guy. Been starting all spring. And every time you open up Twitter and check on the OU page, the veteran defensive linemen are saying, whoa, this young freshman got it. And whenever you hear old guys or older players speak about a freshman like that, give him an opportunity. And when you have a mobile quarterback that understands protection, you can play with a young offensive lineman like that. And with a Derek Simmons next to him to give him that assurance of veteran presence, you might have something rolling out there in Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner. Go get him, Todd Bates. And they just did an incredible job of getting David Stone to withdraw out of the transfer portal and come back home. So Todd Bates can coach him up.
And what about the receiving? That you mentioned the receiving core. They lost their top 4 receivers last year. So a lot of Jackson Arnold's problems was all of his targets were on the sideline. I know some of them transferred, or if any of those targets come back, it's gonna bluster that. Yeah,
but again, quarterbacks make receivers. Receivers don't make quarterbacks. Unless you're Randy Moss or Julio Jones.
Mr. Arnold, but before we do that, and this is awesome because you sent me a text about this guy before our show, we got to get to a super chat from one James Green, $10. First of all, thank you, James. What about Belichick at UNC? Boy, this is
listen, I sent you over a story, and then I did a little bit of deep dive in it. And basically the story that John Talty wrote over the weekend was about a conversation with Michael Lombardi and Bill Belichick of just navigating through the college NIL and talent acquisition system and model. Right? Both of those guys are NFL players. NFL guys. One maybe the greatest NFL head coach of all time, and Bill Belichick, and Michael Lombardi is a longtime personnel guy in the NFL ranks. So they know talent and they know how to evaluate talent. But evaluating talent and knowing talent in college football, you also have to recruit the talent. And even though we can pay players to come to your university and play, you still have to have an understanding of relationships and understand the value of a player. And the gist of the story was lowballing players and not overspending, because they feel like there are a lot of agents that are selling their players and aren't being truthful with the numbers. None of us know the numbers that any one of these players are truly getting, because there's nothing that's truly documented that's public knowledge. True. But like Mike Lombardi said, and I agree with him, he's evaluating his roster and putting a place value on his players and the players that are coming in. And he does not want to overpay for players that truly don't impact the bottom line of winning. And which they all understand that. But again, the meetings of just the two of them being able to go into a room and do this, I don't think it's possible. College football is a collaborative effort. And unlike they did in New England, and unlike what Lombardi is known for and Belichick is known for, it's not a one-man show. One person's going to make the decision, but it's a collaborative effort when you talk about college football and recruiting, because everybody from the janitor to the secretary might have some information on the player that you're trying to retain that's on your team, or the player that you're trying to get into your building. Just this is from my knowledge, and just players in general, and in college football, somebody's going to know somebody that knows something about it. And if you don't know that somebody, you ain't going to know what about it.
What's that? So was that a Talty article? Yeah, that was
a
John
Talty article.
But one of the things I took, and Talty is very, familiar with the Alabama beat, spent a lot of years in Birmingham, but
Right.
He mentioned that Belichick almost kind of expected to get that Saban discount. And look, Saban earned that
ain't
on
never
the
been no
college
discount
ranks through those relationships you
Right.
talked about. I don't think Bill realized there was an element prior to that he didn't have in the college level or with the relationships that you don't just get the Saban discount.
Yeah, you listen. Like I said, Coach Belichick's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Of course,
in the NFL.
Yeah,
but in college, like I said, college football is relationship driven. Coach Saban developed relationship for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He hired a lot of coaches and a lot of people within the personnel department to handle a lot of the things that he wasn't good at.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Siskey, Ed Manowitz, hired longtime coaches like Willie Corn that understand. Jeremy Pruitt was one of the first high school relation coaches
out of Hoover. Yeah,
out of Hoover. But Saban knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted to put a daggone net and put up a wall around Birmingham and make sure that anything that came through there, he knew before anybody, because Jeremy Pruitt knew the grassroots, and he was getting kids and offering kids in the 8th and 9th grade. That's a part of it. And you don't work like that when you're in the NFL. In the NFL, you have information that's given to you. In college football, it's an information gathering business, and you have to go out there and turn over every single stone. Ask every single important question to everybody within the community. And again, in your building, there's times that you might be recruiting the number one player in your area, and the aunt works in the kitchen. But you just don't know. Or aunt works in the cafeteria. You just don't know. I've been through situations like that when you're doing that. So when you are coming from the NFL executive model, you're not understanding that. And he shouldn't know that. But that's why you hire people around you that understand the college model.
That's right.
To make sure they keep you up to speed. And again, I'm going to tell anybody, I'm out here for free hire.
I was about to throw it out for you. You set it up. I was just going to hit it for you.
I said free hire. So when I get hired, it ain't free no more. But I don't have a problem with coming in and sitting down and just discussing like the model that you have set up. It's like the NFL, but you have to collect your information differently.
Yeah.
Like, because every player in college football is a free agent. Another interesting tweet from one of our guys over there, 24/7, Clint. What's Clint's last name? Brewster. Clint put out and that's Tim Brewster's son. He was the tight end coach for Coach Prime at one point. Long-time college coach.
Yeah, coached at Auburn. He's been around.
There you go. Clint Brewster. So Clint, he does an amazing job at evaluating all the players in the portal for 24/7 sports. And he put out a tweet that says, anonymous. Whenever I hear anonymous, I know it's bullcrap. Not from Clint, but whoever's saying it don't want to own it because they want to sound like a complete idiot. Well, in the tweet, it said, trying to get a kid, and I might be saying it wrong, but I'll paraphrase it. Getting a kid out of the portal is trying to make a decision in like 2 minutes, which is really difficult. But you have 3 or 4 years to make a decision for a high school kid. That's totally bullcrap. That is complete amateur hour. You don't have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to make a decision. You've had all year. If that player has played a single snap or a season of college football, you've had all year to assemble your personnel department to delegate and assign players or teams so you can create historical reports on players. So now you're anticipating who's going to be in the portal. If you are, I'll give you a simple example. Say we're short on defensive lineman, Pettey, and you are my DPP, director of player personnel, right? And I say, you know what? Make sure that Justin takes care of the SEC. Marvin has the Big Ten, and so on and so on. So now we're going to take all the defensive linemen and put them on the anticipation board. Whatever you want to use the word anticipation board, that's the anticipation board over there. And those are all the names that are on the anticipation board. So when we see Anthony Bryant from Sunshine, Alabama, come across on the screen that says, I've hit the portal. I thank the University of Alabama for everything they've done for me and my family, yada, yada, yada. Say, cool. Pull that report up. Read the report. All right, cool. My decision's already made because I know who that player is. And if I don't know, someone within my department should know who he is. Yeah. So that's when we have the conversation. And now the conversation is not, are we going to take him? It's when are we going to set him up on a visit? When we take him? And I'm already on the phone with the agent because I'm anticipating what's happening. But when I'm not anticipating, all I'm doing is just reacting every single time. And you can't react in this business. You got to understand what's going to happen. And again, there's times that you get caught off guard. But as a personnel guy, you cannot be caught off guard when it comes to your job, and that's knowing players. That's what personnel means. Information on specific players, all of them you're responsible for.
Smoke, man, you just really, I mean, I don't know how people are out there paying attention. You really kind of turned back the page or lifted the curtain on what programs are having to do that they never did before. You talk about an anticipation board. It's the pre-portal, and it's knowing who's out there, who's going to be out there, who's possibly going to be out there. Because like you said, you can't make those decisions that quick. You've already had to make a decision on a guy that might not even come to fruition, but you got to do it about all of them because you got to be ready. And that's
what's the worst? What's the worst? What's the worst thing that can happen?
The worst thing that can happen is he doesn't get in the portal, you don't get him. But the best thing is you're out ahead of everybody else and you're not having to make.
So what about next year? What about next spring?
You made that relationship. He might be in there. It's a different game, man. Speaking of different game, and I did this on purpose, Smoke, I had Oklahoma and Auburn because a lot of the complaints out of Oklahoma's offense were towards Jaxson Arnold, a true freshman. It's kind of crazy. He lost, like we just mentioned, he lost his top 4 receivers. There was a lot expected. But Auburn obviously saw something in the kid. They got him down to the plains, and he's got an offense to work with. Cam Coleman is the real deal at receiver. They got the Eric Singleton kid from Georgia Tech, who is a big-time playmaker. I mean, he's a home run threat. They did lose Darquez Hunter at running back. I do think Freeze is showing some concern about finding a replacement there. But like you said, they've got a stout offensive line, and defense wasn't the problem last year under DJ Durkin. Is this the question is you can't lose to Georgia and Alabama when you're at Auburn, and he hasn't beat them.
Hey, yet. Whoa, Pettey, 20-second timeout. Give me a second. I can't even find my flag. I was gonna throw my flag and hit you so hard in your daggone head.
You can't.
You said Cal College can't lose to what and what?
You don't keep your job if you go 0 for after a 3-year. It's like Malzahn finally. If you don't beat Georgia or Bama after a 3 or 4 year stretch, the seat gets real hot down in Lee County. Tell me that.
Pettey, listen. Give me 20 seconds to just get into it real quick with you. Like how many games have Alabama lost a year when Nick Saban was there? What did they average?
1.
Okay. How many has Kirby averaged?
1.
Come on, knock it off.
No, it is. I mean, they go 10-1, 11-1, whatever. They lose 1 game, some years undefeated, some years 2.
2, yeah. At max 2. Yeah. At worst 3 and all the, oh my God, it's 3 losses. It is. Nick Saban can't coach. Kirby. Listen, I get it, but you can't change. And to me, again, this is it's a systematic thing with Auburn. When you lose a head coach or you fire, you restart, whatever you want to call it. When you're in the current model of football, modern day football, once your coach walks out the door, your roster that was already getting tampered with is getting plucked apart. And when you hire from outside of the SEC or you hire outside of someone not knowing what they're doing in terms of being a proactive thinker and understanding that if you're up for the job, you might as well take a quarter of your team with you. Because that's a part of it too. You can take your team with you. Like ask Coach Prime. That's what Coach Prime did. You're always going to set yourself behind. And Auburn's done this once, twice, too damn often to actually say that they're truly trying to compete for a national championship. Like the national championship teams that we know of, Georgia, Bama, Clemson, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan. Like, what do they have in common? And before that, when Coach Pete Carroll was out, the USC, Oklahoma, like long tenured coaches that administration used the right search firm, and I'm working on getting a search firm too, Pettey. We're on the move now. Like we're trying to take college football all over. The right search firm to understand who are the best and most qualified coaches to run your school for 10 plus years. So a lot of the issues that Auburn's going through, and I know we're going to get on what they are right now, these problems started once you started getting the coach before Bruce Bryan's last name came from Boise. Yeah, like come on, I get it, but you're trying to run up on Kirby and the boys and Nick and the boys. Mm-hmm. Like that ain't flying. That ain't gonna fly. Like you can't come over here saying that you want to truly compete and saying you want to knock Coach Sweeney or in Clemson off the mantle when they were champions and go in the Nick's backyard and operate and do what you have to do. And then you have a young Josh Heupel. Like, bro, you got to make slam dunk hires when you're in the SEC. Mm-hmm. You can't go with these average guys because average guys get you average results. And if they're not proven, they better be a young, dynamic play caller either on defense or on offense with the ability to get a really good coordinator or coordinators to come in, an elite level of talent acquisition in terms of a general manager and understanding how to build, retain, recruit, and jump in the portal and supplement your roster. So every single semester when it's time to roll out, you're one of the teams that we're talking about, not on the bottom end of it, but the top end of this.
I think you kind of nailed it. I think Auburn and what you're saying is Auburn's always kind of been their own worst enemy. They don't have really self-actualization. They're a very good program. Are you Bama? No. Are you Georgia? No. But
they can be. But what I'm saying, like,
they played for titles. Yeah,
we've seen them do it. But how? Continuity over a period of time. If a coach has a bad year, we're going to fire him. He's stinking.
Done.
You can't do that. You got to see it through. Now, if he's not qualified and he's done things that you don't believe that is a formula of winning, but last time I checked, Gus Malzahn's a damn good football coach.
Very good coach. He gave Saban fits.
Bro, he got after Saban every other year. And as a coordinator, he was a problem as well, too. So you can't have the powers that be, meaning the boosters or the people that aren't making football decisions, come in and make football hires and football fires. Because that's when you get into the bad conversation of instability and inconsistent football play, inconsistent personnel moves. Like it's to me, it's more of a systematic problem than anything. So even with whatever we think about Hugh, you have to let him through. You have to let him see through his process of doing it right or wrong, whatever you consider it is. But you can't be like, in 3 years we're done. 4 years we're done. We're going to find a new coach. Find a new coach if you want to. That roster that's built up, yeah. If I'm somewhere else, I'm coming in. I'm diving. I'm already studying. I already know who I want. Right now, I know who I want on Auburn. Right now. Give me the left tackle. Give me both receivers. Give me that dynamite linebacker. And, you can have the rest.
Give me that defensive end, Kedrick Falk. That kid's a baller.
Falk, yes.
Yeah.
Let me get him.
It's great. But that's what it goes back to my point. Like when Malzahn started, they lose their mind. And that's why I said he hasn't beat Georgia or Bama yet. And these people are going to start getting crazy and not looking at the bigger picture of he's starting to build a program in this new era that it kind of been scraped. Auburn was behind the 8 ball and they had to do it. I don't know. A lot of people like to point Freeze says he lives off the 2 big wins against Bama, but there's X's and O's behind Hugh Freeze. He knows football.
Listen, like Kenyatta Watson down there as well in the Auburn recruiting side. They're doing a hell of a job
great job
of connecting it with that little corridor of Atlanta, the Columbus area. They're winning over there. They're doing a good job down in the Opelika, Montgomery area of recruiting Alabama high school players. And they have enough financial backing and resources
Absolutely, they do.
to go out in the portal and get active and do what they have to do. They just have to put it all together, and they better be sure that it's the right quarterback. But they also have Deuce Knight down there, a young guy that in a couple of years might be the answer. They just got to get Jackson Arnold to the finish line.
If he's, that's the question mark for Auburn. He's the X factor. If Arnold can take that step under Freeze's tutelage, that team can be dangerous, and Auburn's going to be a problem.
Just don't expect him to be a game changer. Just be a good game manager. And I just think that's where these young quarterbacks don't want to be considered that guy. Like AJ McCarron might be the best statistical quarterback of all time at the University of Alabama. And if somebody walked up to me and said, you know what, AJ's the best quarterback, I'd have a conversation with you and a great discussion, but I can't walk over and say, oh, no, he's not. No, but he's one of the better game managers.
And that's not a knock.
Perfect,
you said it
made
earlier.
Great decisions, great leader. When he was asked to make a play, made the play. But if he didn't have Julio Jones and a bunch of really, really good football players around him, then who knows? I can't say he wouldn't have made the plays, but he did.
Yeah.
Have real good players, and he got the ball to the right ones.
Yeah, people have turned that into a dirty word. No, it means you're heady. It means you know that, hey, my best players aren't me. It's these guys, and I'm not going to screw up by trying to do too much.
Magic Johnson's one of the best game managers of all time. Like Magic ain't winning a game by himself. Give him really good players around him, Magic's going to make that stuff work.
Yeah.
Right? AI is not a game manager. AI is a game changer. You put a bunch of good players around him, you might not see the best out of them.
No, because
but that's just understanding what you have. You know, like Tennessee's offense. I was on HQ, CBS HQ earlier, and they asked me a question between Joey Aguiar and Nico. And I said, here's the difference. One's a good game manager, one's a game changer. In Josh Heupel's offense, you don't need to be a game changer. You just need to manage that offense. The offense will tell you, you need to get the ball here accurately, on time, get it out your hand. We don't need you to make a play. Just make the right play.
Speaking of the right play.
Yeah.
The right play is to go to Whitwell Sports. Not now, but after the show, of course.
Right now for me.
Your title towel today. Tell them promo code STANDARD, get 20% off, and have your title towel in hand before this next football season. And look, Smoke, I did it right. I got it.
They need to make a title towel bath towel, a title towel robe.
I need a beach towel size. I'm a big towel guy.
You've been working out really. Now you might need a medium towel. Before you needed a large to go around.
I'm trying to shrink my daughter's all on me. She's like, Dad, I got to keep you healthy.
For a good reason. Smart young lady. She's just trying to make sure her dad's around for the long haul.
I love her for it. Speaking of the long haul, man, these college players have got there. They've got their invitation. The NFL draft is calling, Smoke. We're going to get into the green room. I've heard, Mikael Williams from Georgia's Edge, Jaxson Dart, they were going. Now they're not. Then you hear Maxwell Hairston is going instead of one of those guys, which, by the way, I think that kid's going to be a damn steal.
Sneaky good.
He is good. Ooh. Whoever gets Hairston, the Kentucky cornerback, is getting them a dude at the end of the round. But that brings up my question, Smoke. What is the significance of kids taking the invitation or not going? Have they gotten information that may not be so good? Or
you know what? They've gotten some information that they might be going in the first round. But I'll give you one name, Reggie Ragland. Reggie Ragland went up. I forgot what city they were in. I apologize, Rag. Yeah. But we drafted him in the second round. Mm-hmm. And in all his understanding that he figured that he was going to go in the first round. So he took the invitation, went out there, got on the red carpet, man, dripped out, dressed right, suit, neck game was right in terms of jewelry and watch, everything was up, but he didn't get drafted in the first round. That sucks.
That's got to be one of the tougher things.
Oh, it grows on. Listen,
because the longer that it goes on, the room empties out, and the camera's on the one.
In the NFL, they do it on purpose. They find someone that's going to be in there because, again, you have to remember this is an entertainment business. So I'm going to say, just be aware. If you aren't top 10, top 15, and you're in that 20 to 30-ish crew, there's a chance, Pettey. There's a chance.
See, this is intriguing, man, because
there's a chance. I don't ever want to get caught on national TV with the look of what we saw Levis had to go through.
No.
Your girlfriend looking at you, mama looking at you.
And you're like, man, I
You done bought that Rolex. Now you're like, ooh.
Well, and that's when I hear
I gotta take this back. Because I thought I was trying to get that first round bread. Now it's that second round contract. Both of them good, but
sweetie, I can still get a Camaro.
Camaro don't look the same way as a Lambo.
That Lambo
it don't even feel the same. So then you start seeing him looking over there at the guy that got taken in the first round. He don't got nobody on his arm. Yeah. Might give you that head nod.
I'm going to go out here and get a coffee and talk to old Joe.
Yeah, old Joe. Joe's going to give you that wink. King. Before you know it, old Joe's like this. Hey, second rounder. See you later on. But I hope you get drafted.
All jokes aside, it does. Yeah. Like I think Shedor's he's not going because I think he's doing that home thing. I'm pretty sure he's going to go in the first, but you only had 3 quarterbacks that were going, and now there's only going to be 2. It's Cam and Milroe. Dart not going tells me, again, like you said, you don't want to be the dude that's sitting there at pick 32 and the camera's now on.
I don't want to be the last in the damn green room.
Hell no. It's
right. God, regardless if you go at 10, 9, or I just don't want to be the last one. And you just see.
No, he did it at home.
You just see the ESPN guys over there. Oh, we got old Daniel Pettey still in the green room. We got Kansas City on the clock. We know they don't need a quarterback.
and they need a defensive tackle.
Who's trading up? And you see my man on the phone looking at his phone.
Texting.
You're like, oh, God.
Baltimore, don't you want that last spot?
Oh, man. He's like, oh, damn.
Come on, Cleveland, make a trade. I know you got a trade in you.
No, see you tomorrow. And they got to have another outfit for tomorrow. Ain't no carpet. The only carpet is the one that you're going to be sleeping on. Listen, if I wasn't the first overall pick, I ain't going. I'm out. Yeah. Somebody got to tell me I'm taking you at 10. Like, I don't need it. Just stay at the crib and have a party. And even those parties are kind of shaky too now.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, you do the home party and everybody hears that, and you're one of these borderline, hey, can we set the cameras up? And guess what they're going to do? They're going to click on that camera, and there's going to be 30 people in your house sitting on the couch like this.
Bro, if you don't go where you think you're going, I've seen kids set up parties, bro. And I always tell them, like, if you're guaranteed, if someone within your camp is called a general manager, you got the general manager on the phone. I'm not telling you what I've done. I'm gonna tell you what think that I would do, and I might have done this for a few people. So I'll get one of my good friends on the phone and say, okay, honestly, where do you have him? If he's there for a smoke, we'll take him. I'll call another one. Where y'all got him? Right now, he's top 5 on our board. Call another one. Dude, you can have a party. But if I call him, like, we got him between, when I hear between, I tell you, just call off the party. Just keep your phone on hand. You're going to get drafted. We just don't know when.
Crazy story of backdooring into the situations I did in college, and ESPN wasn't at this.
You got to stop with this backdoor conversation, man. What do you mean by backdoor, bro?
Well, like, I dumbly stumbled my way into places deep ends that I probably didn't need to be in. I didn't need to be invited to somebody's draft party, and that's where I'm going with. Like, I got invited to draft party. They didn't have the cameras, but I'm kind of glad I didn't go because it was that situation that the phone never rang.
Ooh.
The whole time. It was a Bama player, certain back in the day when they used fullbacks.
Fullbacks don't get drafted. And I know who you're talking about too. And if he had a party going,
he just
nasty work. See, me, I didn't get drafted. I was picked up priority free agent, signed one of the bigger priority free agent contracts ever. This is back in 2002. I was okay. I wasn't hurt. I thought I was going to get drafted late. It didn't happen, but I never wanted to have a party. It was just me, my agent. We sat there, fielded some calls, had an opportunity to get drafted in the 7th round. It didn't happen. They drafted Blue Adams instead. I got picked up by Detroit, got the same amount of money that Blue did. I was okay with that. And I handled my business. But not getting called when you think you're going to get called, it sets off a certain gut punch that you carry around for the rest of your life. And I would tell anybody, giving any advice, if you don't get called, if that phone don't ring to get drafted, it ain't over.
That's right. Get
to work. And just understand that's your motivation, how to make a team every single time. Every cut down date, I never once dodged a Turk. Never once dodged him. I'm sitting, just letting them just whatever. Come on. You want me to give you a Turk story?
Yeah, I do.
All right, good. Here's my Turk story before we get off. I got
to get to the point shaving real quick if we got time.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the Turk story so we don't get to that point shaving shorty. But here we go. No, I'm messing with you. So this is I forget what year it is for me. But myself, my spade partner Jason Peters, Jabari Greer, and Rashad Baker. Okay, they were all young guys. They were all young guys. So this is Buffalo. So this is year 3 somewhere for me. So we walk down the hallway, and I see the 2 guys out there. Later became one of my boss, Rob Hanrahan and Kevin Megank, was out there sitting there. And then what they used to do was they'll point at you, wait till you walk to the door and just get that. Come on. So myself, Jason Peters, Jabari Greer, and Rashad Baker. Like I walk in with all of them. Like first off, hey, what's up? So they point. I'm like, all right, fellas, I've been down this road before. I holler, hey, listen, y'all young boys, y'all keep doing y'all thing. They was like, no, not you. I looked at JB. He's like, Jabari? Like, he's been balling. They shook their head. They said, no. I said, Rashad? They said, no. We all was like, JP, you guys are cutting Jason Peters. They cut Jason Peters.
Wow.
Yeah. They cut JP. Now, they cut JP the 3rd preseason game and brought him back because they wanted to hide him. Because if they kept him around and allowed him to get to the final cut down,
somebody was going to.
Oh, my God.
Somebody's going to.
Hall of Fame tackle, one of the greatest tackles of all time. At that point, he was playing tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, when I say he was working all of the safeties in camp at 310, 15, whatever Big Peter was, bro. I want to walk him like, you guys are some of the worst talent evaluators in the world, because I'd cut myself before I cut Jason Peters, and he was playing tight end. But he went on to have a 19 year career. One of the better tackles in NFL history. Yeah. I'm glad that he didn't play tight end.
How things work out.
Hey, I can always say Jason Peters got cut instead of me. Still a damn good still a better football player than I ever think I was ever going to be.
Actually, good story, my man. Speaking of, I'm gonna pull this out of you, Smoke. Someone brought it up mainly because, like I said, we're men of the people. And last week we got a super chat asking, do we think with the rampant gambling in college football, does that open the door for point shaving or some mischievousness? I can't talk. And I want to bring up
mischievous behavior.
Look, there was a story that surfaced a few years ago while Jameis Winston was in college. And at the advent of gambling, you don't just gamble on a game now. You can gamble on the first quarter, the second quarter, first quarter over, second quarter.
Seems like you have some knowledge of that, Pettey. Keep going.
I've read a thing or two about it. Maybe.
Gotcha.
And, there was a connection to somebody that knew Jameis that was winning crazy amounts of money off betting quarters, where you would see Florida State go out to a big lead and then the second quarter maybe not cover, was hitting some crazy. So there are so many avenues now to gamble that's not just on the main spread that can really hide under the bright eye. So look, with the advent of all this gambling, every other commercial is a gambling commercial now. You and your buddies can have a 37,000 game parlay and win $1 billion. And these dumbasses.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, dumbass. You're dumbass. By the way, just call me and I'll give you my Venmo, and just give me and Smoke your money. And
listen,
we'll act like you bet on it.
I don't want anyone to pay Smoke. You pay my company. I want.
We'll go to Smoke's company.
There you go.
With that said, and you've been in, look, man, no secret, you've been in the college locker room, you've been in the pro locker room, you've been in it all, Smoke. With all this, it's I don't want to say lawless Wild West, but college football's trying to figure itself out right now. There's shit all over the place. Gambling's running rampant. Money's running wild in the sport. How easy is it to infiltrate, Smoke? How easy would it be?
I think it's real easy. But the only drawback and pushback that I would have against this, just playing the other side of it, because I can't go with you on this, even if I wanted to. NIL. And kids making money and the not needing to
that's a good
get
point,
into it. That's the only thing that I can say towards, because I think it can happen.
Huh.
And I think if we keep on going down certain avenues, I think you can get to it. But these players are making money now. So I would say if it was 20 years ago, I'd be more inclined to say, yeah. But with NIL, pay for play, yeah, I don't think these kids are. I mean, they'll do some dumb parlays by themselves because they got money, but I don't think they would point shave with bookies and all that. I think it's more parlays.
God, that's why I love you. That's an angle I hadn't even really thought about, because if you go back to like the Arizona State basketball scandal, these kids weren't making what these NIL are. It was a lot easier to have some guy on campus say, "Hey, man, you're struggling just to go get a meal at McDonald's right now. Y'all are beating everybody by 20 points. What happens if, you're the point guard if y'all only beat them by 12?
I'll give $500. That's what they'll say, right?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Good. You can't give $500 to a kid to host a player.
That's right.
On camp. I'm being flat out honest. Well, I couldn't give a player $1,000 if they had to go home on the weekend just to go see their girlfriend or friends to go hang out instead of hosting a player. And I'm paying you to do that. Like, you get paid to do that. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't done. I mean, $1,000. You know how much I make? That's what they'll say. Man, I make more than that in my NIL. I don't need to do this. I got things to do. My time's important. He like us. You said, hey man, we were hosting guy 300. Yeah, come on, give me the money.
Well, I will. Then I'm gonna turn the page then, because I think you're right, Smoke. I think at the bigger schools, but let's take it. Gambling don't just stop. Dude, there's people gambling on Chinese ping pong at midnight because they lost all their money on the Hawaii game. So people are betting on literally everything on these apps now. I know that's crazy, but that's legit. People will get on at midnight and start betting nut shit. So then you get into the smaller schools where the NIL isn't so big. And that's where I feel like maybe their manipulation could come into more play, where the kids aren't getting the big checks.
Yeah, but that's when you're talking about these smart kids, man. These kids that are really worried about how their life's going to turn out. And if they get caught, go ahead.
One of the last point shaving scandals that got caught was Northwestern. And that's one of them smart schools. Big Ten.
Too damn smart.
I know what they're doing. Oh, Smoke, man.
You want to run through some questions? You ready to get out of here? Because you got to go work out.
I think we hit them as we went. Hold on, let me make sure. I'm gonna go what I got starred. See if I didn't feel like the teams that
you put JMO on here. Okay.
I feel like that when teams spend all that NIL, it reminds me of when the Redskins, team that's near and dear to your heart, bought that $100 million defense.
Yeah, again, like James Green with an E. I think that you're not understanding exactly what we're saying or what I'm saying. I'm not going to speak for you, Pettey. I feel like when teams spend all that NIL, it's not your money. First of all, it's to build your roster and also retain your roster. I've never seen a team win games with bad players, and good players cost. And I know they're going to throw the name Albert Hainsworth. Albert Hainsworth was one of the most dominating defensive tackles that's ever played the game of football. But he was never motivated. He was motivated when he was in high school. Tennessee, he flashed. The years that he needed to play, he played. But I'm never going to go on and say one of my classmates wasn't a good player. He was a damn good football player, bro. It's just, he paid him and he was like, wasn't motivated. So that's not on him for you giving the money. That's on you for giving the money. And for NIL, you have to pay for good players in order to have a good team. And James, I hope that you like whatever team that you cheer for winning games. Because if you don't, they cannot spend money and go out there and look like the 1925 winless Giants. And I just made that up.
Well, let's go back to something we said earlier in the show, Smoke. Let's take Ole Miss and Mississippi State, a perfect example. One of them spending, and they're nationally relevant, and one of them isn't. And they may get relegated.
Pettey, you and I got into this over Easter Sunday while I was sitting on my back porch, listening to birds chirp while you was listening to while you was watching all the alligators swim over in your pond in your backyard.
Had one growling this morning, by the way. It was nuts.
Yeah,
It's mating season.
That's it, bro. When you got money like you do, pond, river, it's all the same. You got all type of stuff in your backyard. Hosting fishing events and all that type of stuff. You're rich. Yeah, you're rich. You're wealthy. But either way, and if I need money, I'll just come ask you for it. Either way, one of the things that I really get troubled by is when college players are getting paid to play a game that they can, that everyone wants to say, hey, man, you should be playing just because you're on scholarship. I just don't know if a normal person understands what an athlete goes through on a day-to-day basis in order to get themselves prepared to play winning football. And if I took somebody through the day in the life of a college football player or college athlete and do that for 365, 4 or 5 years, yeah, you would really sit back and like, dang, you guys really need to get paid. Because you're asking young people to play a game that if you don't get paid for it, you're still going to have some type of injury history. You're going to have some type of nagging ailment over the rest of your life. And you've made the university so much money. You've made coaches a ton of money, but you're the only one that's not getting compensated properly for your true value. Now, understand there's players out there that aren't $1 million players, but there are $1 million players out there. And I do believe that everyone should get something, because to get up at 4:30 to work out at 5, then go to class, then come back and then practice, then go to study hall, and then have about 3 or 4 hours of quality social life. And really you can't, because you got to be studying your playbook and you got to study schoolwork, and get back over and do that over and over again. Then go out there on Saturday, play, come back on Sunday, get ready, Monday meetings, Tuesday, and that cycle goes on and on and on. And you're going to say, well, you guys have a break when? Like after the season, you might have a couple of days off. Then you get right back into winter workouts. After winter workouts, you get into spring ball. After spring ball, most teams are getting to OTA type practices and player driven practices where the coaches aren't out there, but you have a guy like me that's running it like a coach is out there. And then from there, OTAs, you got May, June, where you're doing it. July, you're doing it. And everybody's on vacation going into wherever. Yeah, you're going here, but you're not doing the same thing like you were, Pettey, when you have the whole summer off. My summer was on. And then you come back and then you get ready for the season. And that's just year one. And then year 2 of that, year 3 of that. So it's...
My summer was off. Do you think we just get to the stadium and drink like champions without preparation? You work all summer to get that ability to take down that much beer.
Develop your tolerance.
Build up that. Do you think we don't have an off-season program? Come on.
But I'm not saying it's all bad, but it's just we just have to truly consider what the other side's like. And again, I don't never take it for granted. And that's why I always wanted to put on a good show for the fans that came out and supported us. And I never once turned down saying hi to somebody, or if I had to sign an autograph or take a picture. Yeah, nobody wants to take a picture with this face. But either way, just to say hi to a family, whatever, I would do so just because I respected everyone's effort. And I just hope that everyone respects the players' efforts as well, too, when they're just trying to monetize themselves, their value as much as possible. Everyone's not out there just to get money, and they're money hungry.
One of the biggest misnomers in all this is, oh man, now these college kids, what about the ones that are getting paid so much? There's going to be the kid in the locker room that's not getting paid, and there's going to be, do you not know how pro sports works? That's kind of been the deal the whole damn way. The quarterback gets paid a lot, the tackles get paid a lot, the receivers get paid a lot, the center doesn't. So I mean, it's just the way it works. That's always been the way of the world. The guy that does the most gets the most money.
Yeah, and just understand, this is where college football is right now. It is what it is.
Tough
Go
as
with it.
nails.
You can't change it. So don't be bickering at it. Here we go.
39. The last time Texas A&M won a championship was Jackie Sherrill. I don't think that was 39. He ain't that old.
Damn.
No, that was the last time they won a championship. Was Jackie Sherrill the best coach they've had since then? He was the dirtiest. I'd say Sumlin or R.C. Slocum.
Why was Coach Sherrill dirty?
Come on, man. He came. Okay, well, listen, I'll go find the article from Sports Illustrated when Barry Fisher took over the Dallas Cowboys and Jackie Sherrill came to visit. And there's a quote in there that one fan yells out, "Hey, Sherrill, get your ass off the field. One crook is enough." Sherrill is old Southwest, Pony Express. That was the day they invented the under the table, over the
allegedly.
Table. Dude, allegedly, Brian Bosworth didn't allegedly say that Switzer walked into his lunchroom with a mink coat and rings and says, "Where's the Boz?" Look, them boys.
Man, hey, listen, that's recruiting. Everybody walks around with jewelry and recruiting. That's recruiting.
Is Sherrill the best coach in A&M's? He was.
All right, so we got Kevin Sumlin.
Sumlin's.
Did he win a championship? RC was pretty darn good.
RC, I would say Slocum probably or Sumlin. That'd be my picks.
What was Bear Bryant at A&M?
Oh damn! All right, next question.
There you go, Coach Bryant. Knock it off. It's easy. It's always easy when you just say, "Oh, Coach Bryant."
Oh, Coach Bryant was there. Okay, well, you just trump card.
Well, Smoke, man. Bama has a place for you. Come on. No, you know what? Courtney Morgan is an outstanding general manager and a good friend. Christian Hughes, I appreciate that. What you can do is you can let Bama know exactly what I said. Smoke v. Dixon Management is a #1 consultancy agency in college football in roster, construction, retention, and recruiting, and personnel structure. Just tell a friend, tell your mother, tell another. Just come on over and sign up with me.
That rhymed. I love that. That could be
man. Listen, you can find me at Coach GV Dixon on X. DM me. Follow me. I have the greatest content, period. I speak my mind. I have some hot takes. But if you sit down and listen, some of them make sense.
Last topic comment for the night, Smoke, and I really want to get your take on this, and I'm going to give my favorite line from the guy, but an Eli Gold conversation broke out in our chat tonight, so I felt there was a bunch of comments, but I wanted to grab one just so we could discuss it. Chris Camp, Eli, one of the GOATs, Tan. You know that if you're as old as me. First of all, it's the voice of Gold, and I still get chills, and I don't think he's one of the best. I think he is the best, even better than Keith Jackson. But when he made the comment when Bama beat Texas, and the roses in this grand old stadium are once again crimson, I get chills reciting it, and I didn't say it. What's your interaction with Eli? Did you get to know Eli? What's any Eli story, Smoke?
You know what? I don't have a specific one, but whenever I sat down with him and we had conversations, it's just like you just getting the history of college football, like story time.
Yeah.
And you can always just sit back and be like, you know what? You have a voice that I just want to hear anything. Mm-hmm. So just keep talking. And like when I wish I was halfway decent. I need to go get his voice training with him because
oh my goodness,
just the way that he told stories, like my mother-in-law would turn off the TV, the sound of the TV, and turn up the radio, watch the game, but listen to Eli Gold.
Bunch of Bama fans do that or did that.
And like he painted that picture to you that you could just close your eyes and be like, okay, that's Gerald getting beat again. That's old Smoke getting beat again. God, dog, get him off the football field. Why can't we get rid of Smoke? Why can't we get rid of Smoke?
He never said, look, Eli.
No, Eli's my guy, man.
Eli painted a picture. He's absolutely the GOAT. And like I said, that line will forever, I can't recite it without getting chills, but he had got so many calls from Alabama.
I wish he stayed around forever, Pettey.
Same. He's the voice of Gold. He was great.
All good things, just like this great Opening Kick podcast, come to an end.
That's so sad. So I gotta get my title towel.
Even you gotta wipe your tears.
Whew. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean there's not more to come. Smoke.
Talk to me.
Man, I think we've got a guest that probably will excite the Bama fan base coming up.
Who we got?
We got a man. He slung the rock around a few times around Bryant Denny. Few years, he was right on the heels of my man Smoke. One, Mr. Brody Kroll.
That's my partner in crime.
Brody,
that's my guy, man.
Partner in crime. Your real partner in crime is going to show up and get tomorrow to surprise him.
Who? You can't say surprise and say my partner in crime is going to surprise him and say surprise, and Brody's listening to this and he's going to find out. You suck at holding.
You think Brody's listening?
Yeah, he's listening.
Does he know who your real partner in crime is?
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
Everybody knows.
There's going to be other surprise guests.
There you go.
There's going to be, it's not just that. We got multiple surprises that are going to come on with Brody. So be with us tomorrow night. The Bama Standard, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. Got it right there, Smoke. And then after that, final whistle, 8 o'clock, go over to their network. I'll be with those guys, knocking it around. But, man, if you haven't caught it, my man Smoke, tell them about Constantly Smoking. That thing is – it literally, the name could not fit the show better. Y'all have come out of the gate on fire, my man.
Pettey, do you even listen to us?
Yeah, I catch –
Absolutely you do, because if you didn't, I'd be upset.
Of course, you're my man.
Listen, Marvin Constant and I, we have something special. Like what you and I have is like Ebony and Ivory. Like we're like a perfect match on the Oreo cycle. Like you're the light side, I'm the darker side.
I thought I was the dark side.
But if you're just if you just want to have an hour of just great conversation, detail, fun, exciting, and we pick really good content. Like we went in on Nico the other day, and it wasn't. You got to go listen to it, but I'm gonna sum it up for you. Everything ain't true that you hear about, and Marvin and I basically just broke down and just gave you just peeling the layers off of each story, and just to draw you in deeper, so you can have a better understanding. Because what a lot of these podcasts do, we don't tell like frat stories about what we used to do on the yard and how much trouble that we used to get into, or like that seems cool sometimes, and I get that. But if you just want good sport knowledge on different subject matters from NFL, SEC, Big Ten, FCS, portal conversation. We had a really good portal conversation on our last episode that's up right now. Go check that out. It's refreshing, isn't it, Pettey? When you can just come on and just have good conversation, and we engage a ton. Like you, Paul T, screaming about Brett Musburger was a great announcer as well too. Like you throw stuff on that too, we'll get right to you. Now I got a bodyguard that's benching like 400 pounds. So when you swell up at me, I'm just gonna send Marvin at you, and y'all can deal with that.
I agree with what Brent said about AJ. Hey man, go pick up that football. Kenny J. Nelly was good too, but no, I think the Ebony and Ivory is actually probably a really good analogy, Smoke, with our shows, because me and you, it's different dynamics. I don't bring that Alabama football player camaraderie that y'all have dynamic on that show, but we have a dynamic that's completely different. That's more, show relatable. I'm a host and you're the football guy, and I spring it and we go back and forth. It's just a completely different dynamic. So I think Ebony and Ivory's probably pretty good. But
hey, Pettey, you know what? I don't think our audience understands how close we are.
I don't think they do either.
Like
they'll get I think sometimes they believe we're getting feisty, or you're getting on me or hurting my feelings.
Oh, I really don't like you. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's not go that daggone far. Like I can't stand you. All right. I want to punch you every single time you say something, but that's not where we're getting at.
But I'm just so damn good looking, you can't help it.
I ain't into that. But you didn't know that I knew particular people from Aniana, Alabama. That one caught you off guard.
You did small world me. My Jamaican brother small worlded this little redneck from Mississippi. So yeah,
I'm deep in the Aniana woods. Deep. I'm talking about next to it, under the covers, like under the rock. Oh, there you are, Smoke. Where you at? Aniana, Alabama. You've been here before? No, but I know a lot of people there.
Ephraim, that's a good. I actually said this with Smoke the other day. Shannon Sharp and Skip, but I'm not as dumbass as Skip. But the
Man,
same.
I am not as strong as Shannon. Shannon's a Hall of Famer. And yeah, those two guys are. Listen, you know what we need to do though, Ephraim? We need to get Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless' number. So again, go tell a friend, go tell others. If your mother's there, tell her too. Come through 7 Central, 8 Eastern on Mondays. Constantly Smoking. Stay locked in. Tomorrow, Marvin Constant is going to announce our regular time this week. So what you have to do is check in the Bama Standard. Everybody,
like and subscribe. That way you can't miss it, right?
Can't miss it. We just been running a test and just seeing how much you already liked it. And really, listen, okay. Can we be honest?
They're passing.
Justin and Petty thought that Constantly Smoking was on a suck.
I thought it was trash.
All right, the world. Listen,
concept.
They thought we were gonna suck. So they just said, you know what? We're gonna give you guys 4 episodes, and if y'all stink, we're gonna pretend like this never happened. Unbeknownst to them, we are knocking it out the park.
I just thought y'all were a bunch of meatheads. Y'all didn't have me guiding y'all through the forest and the wilderness, but here y'all are.
I told you how to get through the wilderness. It's completely dark, right? It's real simple. So you smart guys start thinking about, there's a tree over there and there's an animal that all you do if you're ever caught in the dark, left in front of right, right in front of left. Take one step at a time, and I guarantee you'll get out. And eventually that light will open up. But we're going to announce tomorrow our regular time where you can find me and the strong, sexy guy himself, Marvin Constant, getting it in, Constantly Smoking. And we got some merchandise coming out. And
we don't even have merch, Smoke. I got just these rooster shirts.
Yeah, that's your rooster. You're a cock.
Big one. Smoke. Hit that follow, hit that like and subscribe. Catch Constantly Smoking. Catch us tomorrow night with Brody Kroll, the man, myth, the legend, former
the 16-year-old kid that we used to get in the bars. Yeah, that's what
I know those stories too. We might get into some of those stories. We might get into my first interaction with Mr. Kroll in the basement.
Oh, God.
But with that said, Smoke, as always, it's a pleasure with my man. Hit that like and subscribe so you get all that content. So when they announce Constantly Smoking, you do not miss it. It is one of the hottest, best shows on the network that's out now. Of course, don't ever miss us. And we'll see you next week, guys. Peace.